More and more EV manufacturers no longer include the mobile charging connector along with the vehicle purchase. For example, Tesla no longer provides it with most of their new EVs. The Ford F-150 Lightning starting in model year 2023 no longer provides it. And I do not believe that Kia ever provided it with their EV6 model. Therefore, it is necessary that we start looking at some third-party suppliers to see who we might use that works with all different vehicle types. Although the Tesla will always require an adapter to use with the J1772 fitting that comes on most chargers. Today we are going to look at the Shockflo 32 amp mobile connector.
Welcome back to E-Hermes, your electric adventure travel channel. Please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content.
Alright, so let's see what comes in the package. A very nice carrying case to carry with you in the vehicle if you're using it for a mobile connector instead of an at-home charger. Let's unzip it here and see what we have. Now I have taken some time and taken all the plastic shrink wrap off because you don't need to see me struggling with that. So we have the NEMA 1450 240 volt 50 amp outlet plug. We have the J1772 connector. Again, with the Tesla you would need the adapter, which we'll show you shortly. Because not only is this a mobile connector, this also works very well as a home connector. It comes with a wall bracket along with hardware, and of course the instructions on how to use it. As I mentioned, this works not only as a mobile connector, but also it has some very nice features for a home charger that some of the other mobile connectors don't have. It has delayed setting if you have different rates at different times of the day for your power consumption, and you're able to set the current anywhere, I believe, from 8 to 32 amps on this. So here we'll show how you use it as a mobile connector, for instance at a campground like we're at now. Now with the Tesla we need the adapter, but with any other vehicle we have the J1772 plug. So we will open up the cabinet here, and this campground has the best of all worlds for electricity at campgrounds. It's got the NEMA 1450 50 amp 240 volt outlet, the TT30, which is 120 volt 30 amp, which is not all that great, but it's good for a camper, and of course your 20 amp GFI protected outlet. So the breaker's off, which is always good when you're plugging these in and out. We'll go ahead and plug this in, turn the breaker on. It's already set at 32 amps, which is the maximum this produces, so we'll leave it at that. Let's go ahead and walk over to the... It has a very nice, I believe, 20-foot cord, so we didn't have to get particularly close with this. Alright, we'll plug it in. If you look over here, you can see that the green light is flashing, so it's now charging. So you see the green bar showing that it's charging. It's charging at 32 amps, getting 7.9 kilowatts. We've been charging for 50 seconds. And like I say, you can also, if you're at home and you have off-peak power consumption rates, you can set a delay on this to start charging when the rates are the lowest. Let's go look inside the Tesla now and see what it shows on the display there. The display on the Shockflo charger said 7.9 kilowatts, and in here in the Tesla, it agrees, 8 kilowatts of power, 32 amps out of 32 possible, 242 volts. With the Tesla Model Y long-range all-wheel drive battery, it has a 72 kilowatt-hour capacity. At 8 kilowatts, in an hour's time, you would get about 11% of the battery capacity charged. I don't like to use mileage because it varies so much by how you drive and how you've driven in the past, but you would get about 11% of the battery. So in 9 hours time, you would have a complete charge if you're starting at 0. Because campgrounds have various charging outlets. Now this one has all 3 major types, which is really nice. But we have purchased this adapter, purchased separately. This does not come with the Shockflo charger. We purchased this TT30, which again is 30 amps at 110 volts, not 30 amps at 240 volts like a dryer outlet. We've purchased this adapter to see how it will work with this as well. So we're going to shut the breaker off on the 50 amp. The breaker's already off on the 30 amp. Plug the 30 amp in. Unplug that. Plug it in. Doesn't want to stay in for some reason. Turn the 30 amp. See, it's a single pole breaker because it's only 120 volts, not 240 volts. We'll turn it on and see what it says. So again, we are getting 32 amps, but it's at 110 volts. So we'll go look in the car and we'll see that we are not getting nearly the kilowatt hours. In fact, we should be getting half. We should be getting about 4. Let's see what the car says. Yes, so we're getting the same amperage, but at half the voltage. So instead of getting 8 kilowatts, we're getting 4 kilowatts. Now this is not nearly as good, I grant you. In fact, it's half as good. But if you're overnight camping and you're there for maybe 16 or 18 hours from the time you get there until the time you leave the next morning, it would again give you a full charge. At least here in the Tesla Model Y with the 72 kilowatt hour battery. So again, with the TT30 30 amp 120 volt outlet and adapter to the Shockflo charger, we're still getting the 32 amps, but again, because the voltage is cut in half, we're down to 3.9 kilowatts or 4 kilowatts instead of the 8. As good and versatile as the Shockflo 32 amp mobile connector is as a mobile connector, it may be even more useful as a home charging station. It has the delay button so that you can use off-peak rates, and it has the button that allows you to change current. Because we currently have it plugged into a 50 amp outlet, of which you're allowed to draw 40, and this maxes out at 32, there's no reason to change this setting at this time. But before we can use it in your home, you're going to need this NEMA 1450 outlet. Let's show you how we arrived at that. In order to create a NEMA 1450 outlet, you need a 50 amp 240 volt circuit. Here's our panel with the 2-pole 50 amp breaker. It's got 2 hots and a neutral. Connect to the neutral bar. Number 6 copper. The neutral is number 6 copper and the ground is number 10 copper. While our wall in the basement where the panel is located was finished, we did not have to open it up to get into it because a few years ago we had renovated our kitchen, and the old range outlet, which is typically a 50 amp 240 volt outlet, that old circuit was still available in the Romex wiring that it came in, and there was enough that I was able to extend it over to this junction box, which is on the bottom of the wall between the house and the garage. We'll go upstairs next and show you where we picked it up there. This is the other side of that wall between the basement and the garage. We came into this LB fitting with, again, 3 number 6 copper wires and a number 10 ground. You should not use the Romex combined wire in a conduit like this, but we wanted the conduit for protection, so we used individual wires. Came up, across the garage ceiling, along the ceiling some more, and down the wall to our NEMA 1450 outlet. Because I have the outlet mounted with the ground hole at the bottom, we have to keep this fairly close to it. So we're just going to go ahead and take the mounting bracket. I've pre-drilled some holes here. We'll go ahead and drill this top screw in. Then carefully tighten the bottom screw as well. Okay. So now you see that when you want to use this as a home device, you simply plug it in. And it fits right in there. Now you're ready to plug it into your vehicle. Again, I have this in the front of the garage so that it can go to a vehicle that's parked in the driveway, or the cord is long enough that will reach the length of the Tesla here and plug in here. Now that we have it all connected, we've turned the breaker back on. We have the cord here going up and into the charger. You see we're charging. We have it set for 32 amps. With a 50 amp outlet, you could draw up to 40 amps. You're only allowed to draw 80% of the rated load. But this device is only good for 32 amps. We're at 237 volts, 32 amps, between 7.6 and 7.7 kilowatts. We've been charging for a little over a minute, almost 2. And the green light going on shows you that it's charging. We hope that you've enjoyed this video showing the Shockflo 32 amp mobile connector and charger. One note, we refer to these as chargers, but they technically are not the chargers actually in the vehicle. These are actually power supplies unless you're using a DC fast charger, in which case it is actually the charger. Anyhow, we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. As always, subscribe and make sure you hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. Thank you!